Hi student and hello audience. We moved to the closed loop operation of Buck converter. We went through all the basics and some practical details about open loop operation of Buck converter. But most converters, they operate in closed loop fashion. Okay, so this is a very important topic: closed loop controlled or closed loop Buck converter. Okay, we'll discuss the general thing about this. Specific to the boost converter, but these discussions can be applied other converters, all the PWM converters. Okay, so that is also important. Let me start with topic number 4, closed loop Buck converter, and this is the opening lecture slide of that. Okay, so 14th lecture, counting from the beginning of this semester, and topic number 4 is closed loop Buck converter, and the lecture 1 is closed loop control and DC regulation. All right, this is the structure of simplified structure of closed loop controlled Buck converter. First, consider this. This part is broken. There's a cut in the middle. Oh, not this one. Let's cut here and some finite voltage of V con. Oh, sorry. No improvement. This is V con. Fixed value. All right, let me fix this. Looks strange. Okay, so there's a cut. That is the open operation. Okay, so for that case, this control voltage is fixed at constant DC here. Then this the width of this pulse waveform is fixed. Then means the duty ratio is fixed. That is the open operation. Okay, now the control voltage V con is derived from the output. Okay, so this is the voltage feedback circuit. You are sensing this is output of this converter. You are sensing this out voltage, and there is some circuit, voltage feedback circuit, and the output of that becomes this control voltage, V con. Okay, this can be varied. Okay, so V con is time varying function. All right, it's more likely fixed, but it can vary within one operational period. Okay, so the control voltage is changing. So control voltage is some band of change. So maybe this can change it. Then this duty ratio will be changed. All right. So this is called closed loop control. There is a functional connection between this out voltage and this, not this one, this the duty ratio of this active switch. Okay, because of that, it's closed loop control. Okay, so we'll go through all the details about this. This slide is some introduction, glimpse of the content coming later. Okay, so I want to introduce this to have the quick knowledge about our discussions coming later. Okay, there are two things, very important things here. One is the negative feedback feature, and the other one is this output voltage regulation. Okay. All right. Output voltage, assume CCM. Okay. For the time being, we assume converter is in CCM. It really doesn't matter, but CCM is easier to understand. So converter is in CCM. Output is this one, and assume the out voltage is somehow increased for the desired value. Okay, usually this output voltage, desired value of output voltage is the same as this one. So you have another DC source. This is the DC output voltage, but magnitude-wise they are the same, but they are different things. Okay, this is the power line. The main power is delivering from here to there. This is the small voltage source, voltage reference, Zener diode something. Okay, it's different things. it has very little power. To deliver a large power, you are using this. So for this case, our voltage is the same as this somehow. Okay. Now our voltage is increased. Okay. I don't know the reason. By some reason, it is increased. So this our voltage is going up from the desired value. Then that increase is reflected through this. Okay. It will appear here. What this minus sign means. If something is positive, it becomes negative. That is the only one limited purpose of using this minus sign. More important sign of this is if this is increased, this voltage increased, and this voltage is decreasing. Okay? That is the meaning of this minus. If you apply some voltage here, and this voltage is increased, then output will be increased. Okay? Here, if this voltage is increased, then this output voltage, which is control voltage, will be decreased. Okay? So, for some reason, you have unwanted situation, output voltage increased, then this, because of this negative sign, this signifies the inverting terminal of this operational amplifier. This is OPM, okay. There is some device called the comparator, and the function is the same. This triangle is the same, everything is same, but function-wise, symbol is the same, but function is different. So this is OPM, okay. So OPM, then this our voltage is decreasing. So this will be decreased, will be reduced, okay. Then this voltage goes down like this. This goes down like this. Then Dewey ratio will be decreased because this is decreased, reduced. So we have this kind of narrower gate drive signal. Then output will be decreased. All right. So we have some increase here, accidental increase, then control voltage will be reduced, then Dewey ratio will be reduced, then our voltage will be reduced. Okay? This is called negative feedback. This is called stable negative feedback. That means if something goes wrong, there's an automatic mechanism to fix that. Okay? But this says if this thing increase, then it decrease. How much? How much is not shown here. Okay? If direction is wrong, you are in big trouble. Okay? Somehow you swapped this. Okay? Then our voltage increased. Then this control voltage will be increased. Then this Dewey ratio will be increased. Then output will be further increased. Then it will go like this. Then eventually you get saturation somewhere. Converter is not working. That is positive feedback. Okay? So you should check the negative feedback feature of this circuit always. Okay? Very easy. During this pass, so this is coming like this, then there should be a negative sign somewhere here. Here or here, maybe. Okay? But this one is general case. All right? So if this is swapped, then you have the same problem. Unstable positive feedback. So with this negative feedback, there is a mechanism to correct the wrong direction toward the proper direction. But how much is the problem? Okay, how much means this is the condition for the out voltage regulation. You want to keep out voltage at constant, at desired value. For this case, this V reference, regardless of any changes in input voltage and load current and operational mode. Okay, converter can be CCM and can be DCM. Okay, and the gain formula is different. CCM and DCM gain formula is very different for the same Dewey ratio. Okay, so with that, still change of this voltage and this load resistance and operational mode. CCM swap with DCM, okay, back and forth, you want to keep output constant, right? Okay, so how can you do that? Okay, that is a problem. Then this is ideal OPM, okay? That means this voltage is the same as this one. We'll go to the basics of this ideal OPM. So this voltage is V. Suppose this is the X. Then Vx is V reference. This is called virtual short, all right? And ideal OPM, this current I is 0. Then that means the incoming current to this X node should be same as outgoing current from this X node. Okay, this is the general way of analyzing the OPM application circuit. If you have some OPM application circuit, you set up node equation at this non-inverting node. Okay, then all the problems will be solved relatively easily compared to other method, right? Because this is the point, there's a connection between input and output, and we know this voltage due to this virtual short phenomena of this OPM, and this input is connected to this point through this, and this output is connected through this. So this is a very important point, most critical point. So here we set up node equation at this point, KCL, right? So this is the VO, and this voltage is V reference. So VO minus V reference divided by this impedance G1 is incoming current to this point, and this current is 0. Assume this is ideal one. Then there should be outgoing current. That current is this voltage V reference minus this control voltage V con divided by G2. Okay? So this is the KCL applied at this point, and you rearrange this equation in this form for some purpose. I'll show what is that purpose. Okay, so you place that, you rearrange this equation in this form. This is the finite. Okay, V reference is a finite number, and our voltage is V con is a finite number other than positive infinity or negative infinity. It can be 0, but finite number. Okay. Then finite number minus finite number is finite number. Okay. That finite number is a product of two terms. Assume this term, this one term, evaluate at specific condition is infinity. Okay. So now you have infinity times something is finite number, and the only one number for this is just 0. Okay? So this is the only one solution, not a solution for this strange equation. All right? Okay. Then suppose this one, magnitude of this one, ratio of magnitude of the G2 and the G1 evaluate with omega equals 0. Omega equals 0 means what? Omega equals 0 means we are only considering DC. Okay? So we are only considering DC. Okay? That means we are only interested in steady state, not in transient period. We don't know anything about transient period from this equation. You want to know only steady state of this equation. So assume this is infinity. For example, this one is infinity. This one is infinity. Then ratio is another infinity. There is only one constant number. So to make this thing infinity, this is infinity, this is not infinity. All right? Not 0 either. Okay? Then this one, with this condition, this becomes infinity. Okay? That means we are evaluate this quantity at omega equals 0. That is the DC, which is a steady state. Steady state means in the steady state, all the time-varying function, okay, sinusoidal oscillation, and or some strange exponential thing, or some strange things, time-variant thing, is they all die out. Okay, only DC quantity are there. Okay, that is the definition of steady state. in this linear time invariant circuit. We are assuming this is a linear time invariant circuit in this part. All right. So that means this becomes 0. That means in the steady state, output is always regulated at this required voltage. V reference. Reference means reference voltage. That is called output voltage regulation or DC regulation. Maybe DC means steady state. Our voltage is fixed at specific DC value in steady state. That is called our voltage regulation and or DC regulation. Okay, so we'll go back to the beginning of this story and we'll explore some details about this. Okay, this is the content of this lecture. Okay, we already went through this, something similar to this. Okay, so closed loop control of a converter. So control voltage can be varied, and it is derived from the output voltage. Okay, so our voltage is fed to this voltage feedback circuit along with this reference voltage. Okay, so this is supplied by the chip, PWM control chip, and the output of this circuit becomes control voltage Vcon, and it can be varied. Okay, it can be varied during one operational period or over the several operational period. It can be varied. Okay, but assume this is a constant now. Then this is compared with this lamp signal, and this is the result of the PWM, and that signal is controlling this switch, and this diode is controlled by this switch. Okay, indirectly. All right. So this is called closed loop operation, and we are using only one feedback from the out voltage to regulate out voltage. So it's called voltage mode control, and some people call it single loop control. Voltage mode control, we are using only one feedback signal derived from the out voltage, and there is one single loop. So maybe the single loop control. Then what else is there? There are two loop control. They call it two loop control or multi loop control. There are three loop control, four loop control. All of them called multi loop control. Okay. All right. So this is the current mode control or single loop control. Okay. Okay. Again, if this is cut and there is some fixed voltage here, there is open loop control. So if you remove this and connect this, this is closed loop control. All right. Okay. So closed loop control and DC regulation. I already explained this lecture slide. Okay. Closed loop control. So closed loop control is to regulate the out voltage at a fixed DC value in the steady state only. During the transient period, the output can vary, but they should return this fixed value after transitional period or in the steady state. Okay, at the presence of input voltage variation and load current variation and other variations. One of them is switchover between CCM operation and DCM operation. Okay, so maintaining our voltage at the presence of some noise in the input voltage is called input regulation. And the features of our voltage being constant at the presence of some noise in the load current is called load regulation. Maybe this DC regulation implies this one, 1 and 2 all together. Okay? Or this one, 2. Okay? When you are talking about the DC regulation, you are maintaining our voltage at a constant DC voltage in the steady state at the presence of any variation in the operational condition of the converter. Okay, and the technique you are using is pulse width modulation. You are adjusting the width of this gate drive pulse. Okay, so purpose of doing this is, of course, to achieve this DC regulation, and there is only one feedback signal extracted from the out voltage, so it's called the voltage mode control or single loop control. Okay, some people they prefer using this word, single loop. Okay, so this slide is familiar to you. Okay, we discussed this many times. This is a PWM block and ramp signal. Ramp signal is starting ramping up at the beginning of switching period, and it reaches the peak value at the end of switching period, and it died to zero here and like this. Okay, and we are comparing this. If this cone, V cone, is large, then this becomes large. If this one is large, then this becomes low. Okay, there is a definition of this plus and minus in this case. Okay, for the OPM, similar but little bit different. Okay, meaning. All right. So this signal. It starts ramping up here. Forget about this. First, consider this. Then at this moment, switch is turned down and like this. Okay. So pulse width was this much, and control voltage is increased to V con prime for some reason. Okay, maybe the controller is working, so this is increased to compensate for something, right? Then this is increased, then this intersecting point is moved, shift to the right, then this V con will go down, VQ prime will go down here, okay? And I did drawn this, so this duty ratio is changing between this and this, okay? So duty ratio is changing in this region, and this region is called this clip is called trailing edge. Okay, so this is called trailing edge. Modulation. Modulation means you are changing something. You are changing pulse width within this region. So this is called the trailing edge modulation. There is another scheme. Okay. Maybe you modify this ramp function, then the duty ratio will change in this region. That is called leading edge modulation, and with some kind of waveforms, some triangular waveforms, this edge and this edge will change altogether simultaneously. That is called dual edge modulation, and this frequency of switching is the same as frequency of this. This is a fixed, so this is a fixed frequency, trailing edge modulation, but there are many variations. Leading edge modulation, dual edge modulation, frequency varying. Okay, frequency can be changed in some case, but this is the most standard. Okay, in the most textbook and in our lecture series, we'll use this as the standard PWM scheme. Okay? The theory developed from this assumption can be easily extended, modified to other cases, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay? I intend to show the waveforms of leading edge modulation and dual edge modulation, but I'm skipping that now. Okay, that is not important. Right. This is very basic and very important. Okay, operational amplifier basics. Probably most of you are well already aware of this knowledge, but somehow I'd like to make sure all of us are in the same boat, and we are sailing to the same direction. Okay, so maybe boring for some of you, right? Okay. This is the ideal operational amplifier. Okay, this is ideal. This is not a circuit. This is just a symbol. All right. So there is no bias voltage here. So this is just simple. Okay, we are using this triangular one. Okay, so inside of the triangle, this is all contained. So this ideal OPM have only 3 terminals. This one is output. This one is inverting terminal input probably, and non-inverting terminal input. Okay, and this output, the voltage at the output is given by this. There is some voltage gain. This is the fixed gain, very large, infinity for the ideal case, and frequency independent. Okay, and the output of that is V2 minus V1. V2 is voltage applied this non-inverting terminal, and V1 is voltage applied to the inverting terminal. Right. So there is a device, ideal OPM device. Then you connect this voltage here, and this there is a internal resistor which is 0. Then this voltage will come out here. But there is no such a thing like an ideal OPM. Okay. Ideal OPM is some fictitious imaginary device, and there are very good reasons of studying that. Okay. One is this ideal OPM greatly help us to understand the operation of practical real OPM. That's one thing. Another one is in analyzing real application circuit or in designing real application circuit, you may assume the practical OPM is ideal one. Okay? So both of them, two are important. Okay? So everything is ideal. It's some imaginary device. But this situation is very different from the ideal transformer case. Okay? There is no device similar to the ideal transformer. Okay? But practical OPM is very similar in their application situation to the ideal OPM. Okay? That is the very, very big difference between ideal transformer and ideal OPM. Okay? We call it differential gain or open loop gain. Differential gain is easy to understand. Why we call it open loop gain? Because we are not using this ideal OPM or practical OPM in this fashion, in this manner. Almost always there is a connection between output port to this inverting terminal port through some device that is called closed loop operation. Okay, so as it is open loop. Okay, but you cannot use this ideal OPM or practical OPM in this open loop manner. So we call it open loop gain, AB, and this is called inverting terminal, and this plus one is non-inverting terminal. Okay, maybe I confused the term inverting and non-inverting in the previous lecture. Okay, maybe you could figure that out. All right, so I'm confusing many things here. Right, but that does not touch the principle of this analysis. Okay, all right. And we assume this input resistance in this port through this port is infinity. Okay, that means whatever you connect here, this I1 and I2 is 0. Okay, that is important. Then more important thing is if we connect 1 volt, 1.1 volt, exact that voltage will appear here. Okay, if there is just some resistor, that value, this value, and it has some output resistance, then this value and this value will be different. Okay, so by assuming this, the Ri is infinity, we eliminate the impact of loading in the input port ideally. Okay, same is true for this. If we assume this, okay, then that means whatever you connect this voltage will appear directly. Otherwise, if the load has some resistance, then this voltage will be divided by this one and this one. Assume this is non-zero, then this value and this value will be different. Okay, so this eliminate any loading effect in the input port and output. Okay, and this one is also important. Magnitude of this one is infinity, and it is also frequency independent. So it provides the infinity of gain for the DC and extremely high frequency, infinity frequency signal has the same gain. Okay, so everything is ideal. Okay, so here is a configuration called inverting amplifier. In operational amplifier, 2 inputs, okay, and 1 output. So there is only 2 ways to apply the input voltage. One is input is connected through some impedance element to this inverting terminal. That is called inverting amplifier. And another case is input will be connected here through some impedance component or directly. So that configuration is we lost some screen here. Okay, let me go back. Okay, this is the configuration called inverting amplifier. Here the input signal is connected to this inverting terminal through some impedance element, and so this configuration is called inverting amplifier. Maybe you can assume this is the ideal op-amp, right? We have another input here, input port is called non-inverting amplifier. Then you may apply this input voltage not here, but here with some impedance element or directly. That amplifier is called non-inverting amplifier. Because there are only 2 inputs, there is only 2 classes amplifier. One is inverting amplifier and the other one is non-inverting amplifier. If you know those 2 applications, you know everything about the all kind of application circuit of this amplifier. For example, you are applying some input here, another input here, then we are assuming this is the linear device. Then we have a superposition principle. So first, you assume the input is excited here. Then analyze this amplifier as an inverting amplifier, assuming this is grounded. Now you consider another input connected here. Then assume this is the input voltage. This is grounded. Then you have a configuration of non-inverting amplifier, and you get the result of that, and you combine 2 results all together. That is the response of amplifier, whatever occurs here, and whatever input is connected here. Okay, so in principle, so there are only 2 kinds of amplifier: inverting amplifier and non-inverting amplifier. Then you have all the knowledge about the application circuit of operational amplifier in principle. Okay, in practice, you need some practice. Get familiar with this circuit analysis. Okay, this is a summary of this circuit structure. Feedback from the output to inverting terminal. Because it is fed to the inverting terminal, it is called negative feedback structure. And the input signal is applied to this inverting terminal. So it's called inverting amplifier. And the potential X is what? This is a virtual ground. This point is the real ground. This is the virtual ground. Then potential should be the same. So this is the Vx is 0. Okay. For this op-amp application, if you build the node equation at this point, X point, then that is the easiest way of analyzing this circuit. I mentioned that earlier. Okay. So node equation at point X, this is the incoming current Vs minus 0, Vx minus 0 divided by G1S is incoming current, and IO is 0 because input resistance of this amplifier is assumed to be infinity. Then this I2 is current, outgoing current from this point. I2 must be I1. So this is I1 and this I2. They should be the same. And this is the rearranged like this. Then gain from this input to output is this one, minus G2S divided by G1S is the gain of inverting amplifier. Okay. if you include every non-nullity of practical operational amplifier, okay, finite differential gain and finite input resistance and finite output resistance, you can come up with the exact analysis of this circuit. That example is appearing all the textbook of electronics, sophomore level electronics, okay, and in the final stage, with this assumption, it is very complicated initially if you add all the non-ideal characteristics of this practical operational amplifier, but this condition is satisfied, then this is closely, very closely approximated to this. Okay, this is what? This is the open loop gain of this operational amplifier, practical amplifier at practical frequency range that well exceed 500 or something like that, right? So if the gain is 10, this becomes 500, then this condition is well satisfied, then this is very, very close approximation of this analysis, okay? That means inverting amplifier with your practical op-amp have practically the same characteristics as those of case of unideal op-amp, okay? So, you know this, now you safely assume all the operational amplifiers are ideal in designing your application circuit and analyzing application circuit designed by somebody else. Okay, so this is the case. So the ideal operational amplifier is extremely useful concept for this, but situation is entirely different if you consider the ideal transformer and the practical transformer. Okay, in practical transformer there is a magnetizing current associated with magnetizing inductance. So you should consider magnetizing inductance to analyze the saturation of this transformer. If you assume the ideal transformer, everything is ideal, there is no saturation with the DC input, whatever. Okay, so you should clearly distinguish between ideal transformer and the practical transformer. That case is sharply contrast with this one, op-amp case. Okay, in the op-amp case, assuming ideal op-amp is absolutely safe for the most application. Okay, and another configuration here, this input is connected to this non-inverting terminal, and also this feedback structure, negative feedback structure is there. So feedback from the output to inverting terminal is still there, and the input signal is applied to the non-inverting terminal. Okay, then this is not grounded, but this potential should be saved as this potential because of the virtual short of this op-amp, ideal op-amp. Everything is also almost true for the practical op-amp, virtual short, virtual ground. Okay, no loading effect in the output, no loading effect in input. Their characteristics are all valid in practical op-amp case. Okay, so again, node equation at X is very useful. So this is the I1, and this current is 0, and this is I2. Okay, this equation is extremely straightforward to set up, and this is the gain expression, this one, and it is modified like this. So this gain of this non-inverting amplifier is always larger than or equal to 1. Okay, can be equal to 1. Let me fix this. When that happens, when this equal sign is valid, when this G2 S is 0 or G1 S is infinity. Okay, here is that kind of configuration, then gain becomes 1, right? So assume this is G2 is located here. G2 is 0, or there is a G, this is a G2. Let me fix this. G2 is 0, or there is G1 is grounded and G1 is infinity. Okay, so if either of them or both of them are true, then this is gone and this is shorted, then input voltage becomes the same as the output voltage because of this virtual short, and that voltage occurs here. Okay, and if the RO is zero, since the output total of this OPM, then that voltage, this Vs voltage will appear here. So whatever is here, this load, for all the load, this output voltage is the same as this input voltage. Okay, we are assuming this non-ideal input and non-ideal load. Okay, then if Vs is here, then input impedance is infinity. This voltage is directly reflected here. Okay, so with this, the voltage gain is unity, but there is no loading at the output voltage, and there is no loading either in the input voltage. So this is very useful configuration, and output resistance of this thing is very small. Okay, ideally zero, and input impedance of this is infinity. Okay, very large or infinity. So that is the ideal case for the voltage buffer, right? Okay. This is about the inverting amplifier and the non-inverting amplifier, and the content of these two lecture slides will come again in the later lecture slide, right? And let me discuss about the closed loop control. We went through this several times previously already. Okay, so we want to output voltage remain constant at this value. Okay, so VO is given by this, VS is given. Then if this is the same as this one, then D should be fixed. Okay, so this is the desired structure, but somehow this VS is increased and R is increased. Okay, and somehow the operational mode jump from CCM to DCM or vice versa. Okay, for any changes in operational condition, we want to maintain this voltage at a constant of this value in the steady state, not in the transient period. That is impossible. Transient period, there is some deviation is allowed it, but in the steady state, output should maintain the desired value always. Okay, suppose that this VO is somehow increased from the desired value for some unknown reason. So VO is increased. So this one is increased. That means this one is decreased. Okay. Sometimes this negative sign implies when the input is positive, then output is negative. That is true for some cases. Okay. But more important interpretation is if this is increased in positive value, then this is also positive value, but magnitude is decreased. Okay, so for some application, you may think this makes output negative, but most application, so this indicate the dynamics change of this input, and this output is opposite. Okay, so output is increased, then VO will be decreased. If VO is not VO, VCON is decreased. If VCON is decreased, then this duty ratio will be decreased. So D is decreased, then output is decreased. Okay, so there is a mechanism to fix the error. If some error occurred, this loop, feedback loop, fix that in direction. If something increased, then it reduces. Okay, so this is the feature of the negative feedback. So for that, you should have only odd number of minus signs. Okay, 1, 3, not 2. Okay, if you have 2 minus signs, then you are applying the positive feedback. That if you increase this, then this circuit further increases this. so you're in trouble. Okay, that is called unstable. So for the stable operation, so there is only one or three negative signs along this feedback path. Okay, so that is also important. And another one is this one. Okay, now you have negative feedback structure built in this system. So if there is some error occurs, then error will be fixed. Then how much should be fixed? Okay, if you fix too much, it goes negative direction, and you fix this one too much, it becomes positive direction too much, then it will go like this. That becomes unstable. Okay, even though you have this negative feedback structure, that output can be unstable. So there is a potential, still there is a potential stability problem in this negative feedback structure. Okay, another purpose is you want to make the output voltage constant in the steady state. Okay, so to analyze that, assume this. Okay, so KCL at here is this one. Okay, so this is a V reference because of this virtual short. This is the V reference, and this is the incoming current I1. This voltage minus this one divided by magnitude of this, divided by this impedance of this is this one. That should be same as this. This is simply the equation of the non-inverting, inverting amplifier. But somehow I rearranged this equation in this one. Okay, this is the same form. Okay, so I rearranged this for one purpose, only one purpose, to show the DC regulation mechanism of this. Okay, so DC regulation means in the steady state you want to have this output voltage fixed at this reference value regardless of any change in here, and operational mode. Okay, so this is the equation. This KCL equation is this one, and this V reference is finite. Okay, of course this is the desired output voltage, which is finite in value. Okay, and the control voltage is some number in between this positive bias voltage and negative voltage. That number should be finite. So this finite minus finite is finite number. Okay, suppose this under some condition, I'll explain what that condition is. This one becomes infinity. Okay, then infinity times something becomes finite. Okay, the only one qualified that something is 0. Okay, infinity times 0 can be any number. So if this is infinity under some condition, this should be 0. Okay, that means under some condition, one particular condition is this one. When this magnitude of this is evaluated at this J, this was omega is 0, This is the DC. Okay, DC means steady state. All right, steady state. Due to some disturbance, maybe some disturbance will occur. Okay, suppose previously it was DC, and due to some disturbance, the AC disturbance is coming in. But after some time, all the time varying component of this one die out, and the remaining quantity is this is a DC quantity and DC quantity. So, and this is called steady state. Steady state, okay. Steady state means all the time varying component die out, and only DC component is remained, which is this. Okay. That is the reason why you are considering this magnitude of this one and this one at J0 at DC. Then if this condition is satisfied, then they must be 0. This means the output voltage is always return to this desired voltage V reference in steady state. Okay, so we are considering only DC component. So the condition is evaluated at this particular frequency of zero frequency, which is DC. All right. Okay, I think this is enough for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll go some details about the circuit structure of this and this. Okay. From this analysis, we know if this condition is satisfied, this DC will go through some transient response and become DC at the exact value of previous one. And the remaining problem is, what about this? This transient period, the response during this transient period is determined by G2, G1 evaluate at omega, not zero. Okay, so AC response, this omega is swept from the low frequency to high frequency, and that characteristics determines this transient response of this. Okay, so in the next lecture, we'll discuss the impact of transient response on the characteristics of G2 and G1 other than this condition. Of course, this condition should be met to have this one, DC regulation, but to have the desirable transient response, you should determine the structure and the circuit component of G2 and G1 and G2 and G1 is called feedback compensation or voltage feedback compensation. I'll come back with the details about this content. Okay? Thank you for your attention. All right.